Yo guys, it's JJ here, and today I'm going to be taking you guys through a Metro Boomin type beat. I was making this in my own time, added a bit of my own twist to it, but it does simulate a lot of the Metro Boomin aspects. It's a dark beat. You'll always find them in a low key, like around the C to D sharp. You usually find most of them around that, and a lot of spooky sounds. Before we get into this, you see this thing down here? Drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz down below. Lots of love. Let's get into this. First of all, I got a pad from Nexus called the PD Bell Pad 1. You can find it under single layers pads. It's a really good sound, and Nexus 2 does have a lot of good sounds if you're looking to make some like dark beats. They're kind of old, however, they do the job really well. I layer down these chord progressions as you guys can see, and a lot of the time you'll find notes very close to each other or just a semitone apart, because that creates a lot of tension between them, which is kind of what you're aiming for. With all that being said, this is what the melody sounds like. You see what I'm saying? Already, just off that one instrument alone, I just think it's like, ooh, Metro Boomin doing this thing, you know what I mean? For effects, I literally just added basic EQ, nothing else, cut off some highs, a lot of the lows, and just kept it simple. As well as that, I stereo separated this quite widely, so it sounds very good in the mix. Next up, I got a soft pad from Expand 2, really good plugin, you know I love using it, and it's called DNA the preset. As you guys can see as well, I literally just copy and pasted the pattern from the melody before, but took off a lot of the top line melody, and I lowered it in octave as well, so the frequencies don't clash too much. With that being said, this is what the melody sounds like. As you can hear it, nice spooky pad, kind of spacious, doing its job. Again, as you guys can see, a lot of semitones, like just like little semitone changes within the notes, because that's what brings a lot of that spooky atmosphere. So always keep that in mind. What I did was, for effects, I added a Portal preset called Step Respond, and I put the dry wet mix like quite low. Then I threw an EQ on top and took off a lot of the lows, and then quite a few of the highs as well. And then last but not least, I added a bit of stereo separation to it, just again, so in the mix it sounds really nice. Next up, we got ourselves a growler mood bass from Omnisphere. However, I do really highly advise, if you have Nexus 2 and the Prit sidechain bass, easily use that if you're trying to go for the most Metro Boomin beat possible, because he uses the Prit sidechain bass. He said it in an interview before, if I'm not wrong, and it's a really good dark bass, really good. But this is a great substitute in my opinion. And as you guys can see, for the melody of the bass line, I literally just copy and pasted the root notes and kept them going back and forth. And again, as you can see, for the millionth time, notes between each other like that, just one semitone apart, lots of tension. So with that being said, this is what the bass sounds like. Sounding nice, dark, and evil as per usual. As for effects, I just added an EQ and took off a few of the highs just like that. Then later on, I added a preset from next up for the melody. I added an analog lab preset. It's called City of the Lost. Very nice sound. This is the pattern I laid out. A quick note for you guys, right? When Metro Boomin makes his counter melodies, from what I've picked up at least, you'll find the first two bars will always sound the same. However, when it's an 8-bar loop, he'll change the 3 to 4 and the 7 to 8 bar up, as you guys can see from what I've done. Minor change, but it makes a big difference in the final product. And as you can see, of course, a lot of notes in tension or one note apart, just keeping it as dark as possible. With all that waffle being chucked at you, this is what the melody sounds like. And when you guys hear that, don't even lie, you're getting goosebumps, because you know why I am, because this tutorial is fire. As for effects, I really didn't add much again, just a very basic EQ and cut off for some reason, a few of the mids, maybe the frequency I didn't like, but a lot of the lows were definitely gone. And then I added like 75% stereo separation to again, not get the mix too crowded up. Now the last sound I added was a preset from Purity, and it's under the piano bank, as you guys can see. It's called Tomorrow VEP, and as you guys can see, If you click Alt R, you might randomize the velocities a bit. And this is the pattern I laid out. As you can see again, repetitive throughout the whole thing. And then at the very end, the last like 2 bars, I decided to switch it up a bit. And I thought it would be a nice little counter melody switch because most Metro Boomin beats will always sound fire as heck, but you know they can get a bit repetitive. So what he likes to do a lot is add a little component towards the back end of the beat, so the audience always has something new to hear. And that's what I try to do by adding this extra counter melody. And with that being said, this is what the counter melody number 2 sounds like. Hey, and before we move on to the effects, right, as you can see, for the 20 millionth time in this tutorial, notes are always in tension, literally 1 note apart or just 2 notes apart at most. A lot of tension. With that being said, I added a basic EQ cutting off some highs and a lot of the lows, an RC20 vinyl, because we just like that effect, and just removed the noise. And quite a lot of reverb just to drown it out and make it sound nice and ambient. Then a bit of stereo separation because it makes it space in the mix. So that might have been quite a lot to take in. However, I will show you now, as you guys can see, throughout this beat, I don't play all of the melody components together because it just makes it too crowded. It gives it a bit of variety when you space it out. You've heard me say this a few times before if you've seen my other tutorials, and if you haven't, then you know what to do. Just check out the other tutorials. And let's just hear what this beautiful melody sounds like. Hey, now don't tell me when you're hearing that, you're not thinking, yo, Metro Boomin, all over this. This beat going crazy. JJ killed it. You know you're going nuts in the comments. Now, after hearing all of my waffling, I think let's just get straight into the drums, right? First of all, I got a simple snare because snares always hit a bit harder, you're a bit crisp. So I wanted to throw that in, and this is what the snare sounds like. Let's not lie, we don't want to hear a full 8 bar of that. Next up for the hi-hat pattern, considering the melody's quite simple throughout the whole beat, I just added a few little changes to it, a few little 2-steps, small rolls, a space out here, and then a nice little roll out here as well. With that being said, this is what my hi-hat sounds like. And that's the hi-hat for you, my folks. Now, next up, we got ourselves 2 kick patterns I'm going to show you because throughout this beat, again, I varied the 808 pattern a bit towards the second half of the beat because, you know, keeping this interesting. Metro Boomin always adds a little bit of a switch. Oh, and before I show you the kick, just remember real quick, max those velocities out. So I'll show you both kick patterns right now. Now for the second kick pattern. And that's the kicks for you. Now, obviously, considering there's 2 kick patterns, there must be 2 808 patterns, and that makes 4.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
But there is not 4 in total, so I don't know why I just did that. Anyways, I'll show you the 808 pattern, as you guys can see, following the root notes as usual, maxing the velocities as usual, and you can't go wrong with it. Time to show you both 808 patterns. And for the second pattern, and that's the 808 pattern, folks. And last but not least, in the drums, I added a nice little open hat that comes in once in a while. Again, a little bit of ear candy, and it does a nice job. And that's the open hat pattern. Now, with all that being said, time to show you guys the full drums. Hey, and now you guys have officially made to the end of this tutorial. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Try to show you guys as best as I can what I think a Metro Boomin beat would go like. And guys, just remember, always keep in the dark, a little bit of a switch up of some counter melodies, and of course, take it easy. So, enjoy the rest of the week and take it easy.